on this Friday night. Oh, yeah. Let's get the setup in order. Come on now. Friday night. Whoa, 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 whoa. There we go. There we go. Let's get the setup straightened out here. As Indy up 5. Woo, the pressure is on. Make it 8. Timeout Thunder. How the tides have turned. Let's come over and get our socials in order. Indy versus O.K.C. We got that NBA Finals watch party going on. It's a Friday night. The weather is right. Let's get it going. Facebook is good. IG is good. Come on over to Twitter. Let's check out Twitter. A lot going on in the world right now. Most definitely. Have to be mindful, be alert. And most certainly we gotta stay hopeful. Stay hopeful and stay together. And I'll leave it at that as we, okay, all right, got my socials in order. Hope everybody out there is doing well. Hope everyone's week concluded in a positive fashion. All the working class heroes out there. Times are changing. On the sunny peninsula where I'm at, tourist town is starting to get going. And so our socials are in order. I hope everything where you're at is in order. And we're going, welcome to SandCity Sports, to the business. Yes, indeed. Friday edition. NBA Finals is going on. And you know what we do, SandCity. Yes. Let's get our volume right. Hey! What? Get 'em! SandCity! On this Friday. Got the bases and the thunder going on. A work week. Blasting off into the weekend. Hey, run that back. Run that SandCity back. Run that intro back, people. We do it 2 times to get us going. Hey, what? Go. SandCity Sports. Your host, the K-Cod Kid, that's me. Artist formerly known as Andre King. We're here to bring you all the sports and current events and stories that you need to know. Check in with SandCity. Give us some of that good energy. And let's get it. What? Yes, indeed. Okay, so specific to the finals, folks, and yes, everybody out there in television land, you know you're welcome. Mi casa, su casa. Come and let your boy know how you doing in terms of sports, in terms of life. You know, just come on in and check in and let's share community and build it up as best as possible. But specific to this NBA Finals, O.K.C. 1 for 12 from 3. That's not going to do it. Let's go ahead and check those receipts because the Cape Cod Kid, that's me. I did have the Indiana Pacers winning the series in 7. So let's just go ahead and be reminded. Now, I'm not going to get too big for my britches right now. O.K.C. tried and true. They've come back on the road before. They were in Denver in a couple of nip and tuck games, down double digits, coming down the home stretch, came back and won those games for a 7th game, and then mollywhopped Denver in that 7th game. So O.K.C. is by no stretch of the imagination done right now, but they received some body blows. They received some power punches. Okay, and people talking about this wasn't going to be competitive and gentleman sweep and all the rest of that stuff. We're not going to have a gentleman sweep. We know that because Indy's up 2-1. But right now, Pacers at home in basketball country and in Hoosier land are feeling it. and ready to put the Oklahoma City back up against that wall, take a big, demanding, commanding 3-1 deficit, 3-1 lead. Now we got 15 plus, we got 16 minutes of basketball to go, and we're not even okay. But again, with Oklahoma City, they have made strides. They did break through last year the Western Conference Finals before. Hold on. Excuse me. The division round before the eventual Western Conference champion Dallas Mavericks. Before they lost as we would call, before they lost their doggone mind. There's another phrase that I'm going to use, and I'm going to preface it. Okay. But for now, we're going to say the Dallas Mavericks lost their doggone mind. We're going to use another phrase rooted in the Deep South. But I have to kind of give a little context. We give, before I go ahead and break out that phrase. But they lost to the defending Western Conference champions. But, you know, that was a learning experience for them. But this is still a team that's learning to fly. We talked about that on the last episode. O.K.C. is learning to fly. And these nip and tuck games, that's where you earn your stripes. That's where you earn them, okay? My New York Knicks, you see I'm rocking. My Knicks, speaking of loss, and the phrase I'm going to use, I have to break it out now. It's what I learned from goodness gracious. Make that a 9-point lead. It's the phrase I learned from my grandfather, the late, great Herbert Collier. Blessed and highly favored to have him in my life for the majority of my life. Passed away in November at the age of 99, leaving a rich and strong legacy. But my grandfather, excuse me. Appreciate Shane from Des Moines. Respect. Showing love. Member of the Maller Militia. Okay. Respect. Appreciate you. Looking forward to being back with Big Ben on a consistent basis as the school year winds down and we go into the summer months. Jalen Williams, reverse, no good. Rebound action. Going the other way. So O.K.C, they're right there, a 6-point game, so they're hanging tough. They're hanging tough. But back to, my grandfather, the late, great Herbert Collier, born in rural Georgia during the Great Depression. Again, you know what I mean? We talk about keeping it a buck, keeping it 100, level setting things. You know what I mean? Talking about first world problems versus, the real world problems. And there's a whole lot going on in the world right now, people. A whole lot of opportunity for people to lend out and extend and to, because there's just a lot going on. And time of testing, in a certain, in many degrees. And but I'm a being a history person and I'm going to connect this back, but I always preface it, you know what I mean? Because I've been middle class and generally privileged, my entire life. My grandfather was born in the rural South during the Great Depression. Put those two things together. In the era of Jim Crow. Let's add that to the mix. Okay, one of the funniest, kindest people you ever wanted to meet. Served in World War II, the Great War, along with his brothers. Fortunately, all of them came back from their service safe. Part of that great migration north. And then he was in the garment industry for his career after the military. But one of the things that my grandfather would say, again, so now that you have the history, and when I would kind of do something there, he said, boy, you out your cotton picking mind. He said, you out your cotton picking mind, boy. You better ask somebody because you're out your cotton picking mind. That's what he would say. That when I knew I had to fall back. When he your boy, you out your cotton. When he brought it there, it's time to fall back. I ain't want none of that smoke. I might be able. I talk to you. Your Cape Cod gig gonna talk to you, but I have a little bit of perspective. I know there's some limits. I'm living in the north. I'm born and raised in the Northeast my whole life. Middle class. I ain't rural South, Great Depression, Jim Crow, World War II. That ain't my pedigree. So when he came, he said, "Yeah, it's your cotton picking mind. Time to fall back. Time to fall back right now, folks." Okay, and so my New York Knicks. Go ahead. I'm still rocking them. Let's get the screen right. Because we still on. We got to get the screen right. How's everybody out there doing? We'll come back to this view. Pacers up 10. Putting the pressure on Rick Carlisle. They coming at him in waves. 8-second violation. Oh boy. Reggie Miller's in the building with the throwback jersey on. A lot of Pacers in the building. My name is Sip. Yeah, from the east to west. Yeah, I rock this joint. Yeah, with the mo funness. Roll call. Hey, Lincoln, Lincoln. Roll call. Hey, shout out to He Got Game. Shout out to Spike Lee, another Spike Lee joint. Spike Lee has a banger coming out. Um, the highs and lows, something like that. Ooh, McConnell. Oh, OB. And it's staying there. Pacers are feeling it right now. Indies in feeling it. But again, back to people that's out there cotton picking mine. Shout out to my New York Knicks. You know what I mean? Hey, I'm still repping, but talk of you gonna give up on a true General Tibbs and you don't even know what your next move is. Dallas Mavericks told you to go jump in a lake. That was the only deal that I've said. Talking about my Knicks in the fantasy chat right now. What the heck is they talking about? They better put some respect. Talking about Nemhart, and how they did a number on my Knicks. Yes, they did. Yes, they did do a number on my Knicks. But the Knicks, you're gonna give up on a true general, and then go running around. Austin Rivers had a good take on this. We're gonna get to when we do Slice of Life. Had a really good take, but you're gonna give up on Tibbs, and you ain't. I thought you had an angle, a line on Jason Kidd, which would have the only thing that I would have accepted because then, if Dallas, was in their right mind, Tibbs would have went to Dallas, maintain, because he's a head coach. That's not even the thing about him being assistant coach. So just pump the doggone brakes on that foolishness. But no Jay Wright, no Jay Kidd, Knicks. This is outlandish right now. This is. I'm you might want to just ask Tibbs to come back at this point in time. I said what I said, folks, because you're not finding a better coach. You're not, period. And you had the only reason Jay Kidd was acceptable is because he's another elite coach. Yes, elite. Um, and he has a background with Big Body Brunson, right? Before, Big Body Brunson was put on by Jay Kidd in that playoff run with Luca hurt. So Jay Kidd can bring the best out of Big Body Brunson. Offensively, um, he's not he knows he's a good coach. Not he's an elite. He's not good. He's elite because he took the team to a finals. But offensively, that he'd be more offensively capable than Tibbs. There's no but people want to act like Tibbs can't coach offense. Was Derrick Rose a good offensive player during his MVP season? And again, Derrick Rose had knee problems going back to Simeon. So go ahead. If we want to talk about Derrick Rose and Tibbs, he had knee problems going back to Simeon. So just stop. Okay, again, this is before load management. So yes, I will concede Derrick Rose should have been load managed, but this is before the analytics revolution, right? Tibbs, OG was load managed, Cat was load managed, Big Body was load managed. All right, so but the Knicks, you know, ridiculous. Okay, back to Oklahoma City. This is, I mean, they're keeping it, they're keeping in striking distance. But this is, a significant challenge. Now, you go, people, once they go down 3-1, we've seen teams come back down from 3-1, specifically Oklahoma City when they were up 3-1 against a, 73 win Warriors team, and they came back. So, yes, it was the Cavaliers, and they were given some help, right? When the Cavaliers came all the way back, but they were, the Draymond suspension did a lot to go towards that. And then there were some ridiculous calls, in Cleveland on Steph Curry, just nonsensical calls. So there was some tomfoolery. I'm a basketball guy. I keep it a buck. There was some tomfoolery. Don't think Draymond should have been suspended. And if you go back and watch the tape in those games in Cleveland, there weren't NBA fouls being called. There was ticky tack, YMCA nonsensical fouls being called. I said what I said. All right, but nonetheless, Golden State had a 7 point lead going into the second half in game seven. J.R. Smith hit some huge threes. Okay, and they lost that game. Did Steve Kerr need to be subbing offense for defense down the stretch with Festus Ezeli? No, he didn't. Okay, so that was stupid. But nonetheless, big shots were made and they won the series and they won the game. Big bucket by Williams to end the third, make it a 7 point lead. So we're gonna see, right? I mean, I don't want to brag, but I did have, I said Indy was going to make this a series. People were just acting like, you lay heavy hands on the Cleveland Cavaliers and knock them out, in resounding fashion. Then you go ahead and you do a number. Appreciate the viewer that's tuned in on Facebook. Appreciate your couple views on the Twitter. Respect, appreciation. Shane from Des Moines, Mal and Militia. Appreciate it. Um, and all this talk about Indiana and whether it's, this is the most improbable run. And, it is improbable. There was those out there. I didn't have them getting past Cleveland. I don't care what happened during the regular season. Cleveland with Kenny Atkinson felt to me to be world beaters. What's happened consistently with Indiana, though, is that they've stolen games. They've absolutely, like a thief in the doggone night, like John Stockton, NBA's all-time leader in steals. They've stolen games, which has put them in a position, and once they have that upper hand, that leverage, they ain't giving it back. That they were, people act like Rick Carlisle ain't been doing this, since the doggone 90s. Like he hasn't been, again, back to Tibbs. Talk a little bit about Tibbs. Oh, he's a lifer. He doesn't never. So yeah, yeah. And where is he? I wish I had that dedication, that focus. I'm, you know, some people and myself at the top of the list. It's hard to focus on that one thing, that one quote unquote competitive advantage, and go all in on that. All right, I want to be an influencer, and I got to have my 9 to 5. Then I got to have my hobby over here. Then I got, and me, I'm at the top of the list of just not being able to just sit down, clear the deck, go through the soul searching and saying, this is my lane, this is what I'm doing, period. By hook or by crook, it's going to take time. I know I'm going to have to go through the struggles, but I feel it. I'm committed to doing it, and the rest is history. So that's Tibbs. Okay, so 30 years later, he's Tibbs. But see, now I'm talking, man. I'm talking to you, but I'm not showing you. And this is kind of health. This is therapeutic for me, frankly. This is therapeutic for me after this, after the treatment that has been, you know, it's just preposterous. All right. So as somebody, as a Tibbs, as a leader of the Tom Thibodeau, you know, what are we gonna call this? Benito, appreciate you very much. Appreciate you, Benito. Coming from the Maller, right? Right? You want to talk about my coach, dog on it? And what the Knicks have, this wildness going on with the Knicks, but that's not prime Tibbs. This is prime Tibbs. All right. And, you get a little bit older. Tibbs, I'm in that, you know what I mean? One of the coaches that I have a lot of respect for, around here does a great job. One of his statements is he says, I'm chunky but funky. You heard me, babe? He said, I'm chunky but funky. Get some of that. I'm chunky but funky. Come on and get some. You get a little bit older, yeah, you get a little fluffy. Hey, you do the push-ups and the sit-ups. It is what it is. But this is prime Tibbs, all right, who was a hooper. Shout out to Salem State. Okay, division, a lot of people, Sam Presti amongst them, came through the Division 3 route. Lifers had the love and just made the commitment early and just stuck with it, and now they are where they are. Now we want, you know what I mean? But you ain't put no decade or two into the grind. You ain't put no 1-2 decades plus into the grind, like my coach Tom Thibodeau. All right, to be able to be, he's elite. all this craziness that's going on right now. Man done brought prosperity. First time we have two starters in the all-star game, all NBA players, and all of a sudden, and we're gonna get back to Indiana, who's only O.K.C. showing it, cut it to 5, staying right there. That's serious. That's maturity. That's experience. Let's see if they can keep cutting to getting it to 3 and getting this back to being a one possession game. Okay, but O.K.C. is staying together and continuing to execute. Rebound action, playing the defense. All right, 5-point game, 11 minutes. And, so they Gilgeous-Alexander to the cup. All right. It was just ridiculous. And again, the whole thing, Indy, they stole a game in Cleveland, gave them the advantage. They clearly stole a game in New York, gave them the advantage. All right. I still go back to the fact, even with that, Knicks had a chance in game 6, 4-point lead at the half. I don't know why Thibodeau wanted to just play guys and do this whole rotational resting nonsense. You're not Rick Carlisle. You're Tom Thibodeau. Double, triple, quadruple down on Tibbs. Nobody was complaining in game 1 where we had the doggone Pacers on the run. That was the best game they played the whole series. They ran with they just beat that team flat out. And then you have, a miraculous 3, and then all of a sudden the world I mean, I get it. You're in the media capital, you're in the economic capital, you're in a political capital of the world. So the pressure, the scrutiny, but some people are just built different and built for it, and Tibbs is one of those. So he should have just X'd out and just stayed true to what got them there, right? And not, okay, fine, you want to bring Mitch Robb in, but still, you don't need to, like, Josh Hart can still play 35 plus minutes a game with Mitch Robb. All right, we don't need Mitch Robb and Precious Acune. We don't need, excuse me. I just felt like Tibbs, all this nonsense, because that's what it is, nonsense, talking about rotations and, guys playing too much. It's absolute nonsense because none of you guys, the people on that point, I appreciate it, Benito. I'm trying here. You know what I mean? Assume when it comes to my Knicks, you doggone right. There's gonna be a little bit of fire because you done poked the doggone bear with this wildness that's going on. But my overarching point is game 6, the Knicks had the opportunity to win that game if Tibbs would have just stayed with his guys. He's subbing guys in, subbing guys out, this YMCA nonsense. Big body, Bridges, Hart, Cat, and the OG. What are we doing here? What are we doing here? The last OG, Hart, Cat at the 5. Well, we're not worried about the defense. I said it. We're not worried about the defense. Mikal, Iron Man, and Big Body. When we need defense, bring in Mitchell. Hart, come out, get a little bit of break, then you can come back in and get some more, you know what I mean? You sub Mitchell in and out for Mitchell and Hart could have taken time on and off. The rest of y'all, just no. Landry, okay, but he ain't give me nothing in game 6. Deuce didn't give me nothing in game. Deuce was out there running around like it was elementary basketball. No disrespect to Deuce. I'm a ragu man. I need my ragu with my pasta. I need my ragu with my angel hair pasta. That's what I need. I need some ragu. I was against getting rid of DiVincenzo. I'm still against getting rid of DiVincenzo. I don't care. Throw McBride in there. Give him some. Keep ragu. We should have kept Las Cosa Nova going on. 5-point game. Indy holding on to it. McConnell's out. You see what I'm saying? Like, you don't need to be Rick Carlisle has his 2 platoons, and McConnell's gonna come in and this guy, let Rick Carlisle do Rick Carlisle. We the New York Knicks over here. We doing what did Pat Riley said? Okay. Play 8, trust 7. No. Dress 8, trust 7, play 6. Dress 8, play 7, trust 6. That's Pat Riley talking right there. Anybody want to have a word to say? O.K.C. cut it to 3. That's big time right there. You saw the move that they just made. Staying together. Chet, that skinny man. What did Wemby say? Everybody talking about getting bulking up. Y'all need to skinny up. That's what you need to do. When we're talking about bulking up, this ain't bodybuilding. This ain't wrestling. This ain't WWF. Forget WWF. Get this WWE stuff. WWF. Okay? That's what I'm talking about. I'm talking awesome 80s Andre the Giant versus the Hulkster. right? OKC took the, and then came storming back. So that's maturity right there. That's big for them to cut in and they took some power punches and they came through. Back to my man Chet. My Chet says skin. When actually this is Wemby. Wemby said skinny up. Um, bar that and so you don't have to have great physical strength. You know, you could be like Durant and have considerable functional strength, leverage, angles, agility. Um, right? Basketball is it's not a collision sport, it's not a contact sport. It's a freedom of movement sport with contact. It's a freedom of movement sport. You get there first, that's your space. You have the advantage. Okay? It's not a collision, football is a collision sport. So we'll see where this game goes in specific, right? OKC to come, but we got a long way to go. And it's in the balance. Indy can most certainly still get it, or OKC could, And this is going to be. I said we're going 7. We got 2 good teams. Excuse me. Ratings are down. Fine. Ratings are down. Okay, but again, you talk to people that's true basketball people. What are we talking about here? This game, this NBA has survived through tape delay. Can you believe Magic Johnson, 1980? Magic Johnson winning the championship against the Philadelphia 76ers, led by one Mr. Julius Erving. My grandmother was a huge Sixers fan. Grandmother lived in Philly, huge Sixers fan. It's in my DNA, folks. Used to come when I was a little kid. This is the fond memories. Bouncing around. I teach now, and these kids are bouncing off the wall. I mean, bouncing. High velocity. These kids got energy for weeks. I mean, I just, it's crazy. I break a sweat just watching these kids run around. I feel that's a workout for me, just watching these little Thundercats move around. But then I'm reminded of myself in my little heyday when I was running, Got some memories. And so when I would be home, in the house in Philly, my grandmother be watching that Sixers game, man. Okay. Daryl Dawkins, what? Dr. J prior to that had they had George McGinnis, Billy Collins, get that right. Billy Cunningham, Doug Collins. Let's get it right. Billy Cunningham, Doug Collins. Yeah, and Magic Johnson, with Kareem Abdul-Jabbar hurt, went in there, gave him 42 points, rebounds, assists, and the Lakers got that championship. Tape delay, folks. Some games are tape delayed. I'm going to talk about the awesome 80s. Just had an awesome 80s flashback. We was talking about the New York and the awesome 80s. Studio 54, Times Square. Right, so this whole, Indiana, the ratings are down. The TV contract's been done. They've been signed. All right, TV now again, you need ratings, but everyone, let's, the game is healthy. Period. Big rebound by Caruso. Caruso's been playing really well. Caruso been to the cup, kicking it out. Lou Dort, slow it down. Chet, back in. They moving it. All right, now give it to Shea and get into the offense. Shay's passing a lot. He's got it. Okay, now late clock. 3. Chet, 1-point game. It's big time. Big time. But back to this whole ratings thing, you know what I mean? I'm unbothered. I'm unfazed. Jamel Hill is unbothered. Go ahead and check that out. We don't play, hey, we congratulate. Also, go ahead and check out Higher Learning, Van Latham, Out of This World. And while you're at it, go ahead and check out Way Down in the Hole, which was a collab between Jamel Hill and Van Latham about The Wire, Out of This World. This is some of the stuff that was going on during the pandemic. Can you believe it's been 5 years? Amazing. I just get flashed, and and now the world is in a whole different situation. There's always going to be situations, but that pandemic just once in a century type deals. But during the pandemic, yeah, check out Way Down in the Hole, Van Lathan, Jamel Hill, The Wire. In my opinion, greatest television show of all time. Shout out to David Simon. Also, go ahead and check out Talking Sopranos, Michael Imperioli, Steve Sharippa. It's about the Sopranos. That's David Chase, Pride of New Jersey. Okay, arguably the second greatest television show of all time. Just outstanding content. Okay, we ain't player hating around here. We showing love. Okay, but back to this whole point about being unbothered, being unfazed, being about that life. That's what Oklahoma City's showing you right now. They didn't tie the game up. Crucial. They about to go up one. Crucial missed it. Okay, tie ball game. Here we go. O.K.C came back throwing some hands. That's a huge comeback for them to put the pressure back on Indiana right now. Huge. Tyrese Halliburton, he got to watch what you say, man. You got to watch what you say. We've had enough of old school tips. But you feeling this energy, folks? You feeling how I'm feeling as a Knicks fan, see my Knicks fandom, but I want to be, but my Tom Thibodeau's my coach. So when he was with Minnesota, I was in the Twin Cities. All right. When he was in the Shy, I was in the Shy. It's my coach, man. And you know what I'm saying? It was for my coach to come back to the land of my origins. Yes, born in Summit, New Jersey, but my early '90s New York Knicks who kept getting handled by the Bulls. But for me to be able to return right to it was just, and then it was just steadily built up brick by brick, not going for stars, going for them that's tried and true, that's about the process, bringing in Brunson before he was big body, right? And piece by piece, trading Reddish, bringing in Josh Hart. We had to get rid of Barrett. We bring in the last OG, and then in the last summer, just the power moves to complete the puzzle. And you give this man 1 year, and then you jettison him, and you don't even have a plan B after it. I'm saying it right now. Y'all need to go back and make the peace with Tibbs and bring Tibbs back. Period. Because you're not finding a better coach. You whiffed on Jason Kidd. That was it. Jay Wright, maybe, but that would have been a risk anyway. Jason Kidd was the guy. You whiffed, it's over. There's no way that MA, that just makes no sense. He's in the fourth largest market, and he built them up. They didn't have the blueprint. MA gave them the blueprint. They got so much young talent. It's ridiculous. They're going to be able to go out there in free agency and get somebody. All this talk about KD to the Spurs was a done deal. Now we're talking. Now people are coming back to their senses. Miami is in the hunt. Houston is in the hunt. Minnesota is in the hunt. Okay, for KD, I think Houston. I don't know what package, Houston can give. You want a Sangoon, come get a Sangoon. I know that hurts. That's not necessarily. Again, if I'm Houston, I can see why I wouldn't want to give up Sangoon. I want to give up, the Phoenix says they're looking for a big since Ayton. You go ahead and take Jalen Green and we'll find a big, from a 13. But if I'm Houston, I'm not giving up Sangoon because KD and Jalen Green does not work together, especially when you already have Jabari Smith and you got to let Reed Shepard come into the mix next year because he's going to be a problem. And you have Van Fleet. I would have no problem with them playing Van Fleet and Reed Shepard, who can defend. All right, he's coming from the basketball tradition. Her dad was a great player at Kentucky, so Reed's going to be a problem in this league. He's gonna be a force. He can shoot it. He's a good defender. He's explosive. He's gonna be a problem. So we need to see him in the lineup getting minutes again. If you want to go with two smalls, if you want to do an Isaiah Thomas show Dumars thing, I would be in favor of that. But Jalen Green's got to go if you're gonna bring in Kevin Durant. He's just got to go. Okay, he got to go. I'm sorry, that's just the way it's got to be. All right, Dylan Brooks, it might be your time to come off the bench. It is what it is because we got to get Reed these minutes next year. Start your two smalls, Durant at the 4, Thompson at the 3, Sengun at the 5. Good. You bring Jabari Smith off the bench still in his 6-man role, his Jamal Crawford cook him up role. Bring Dylan Brooks off the bench for toughness. Houston, they're Minnesota's intriguing. I just don't know what they have to offer. You're going to trade Kevin Durant for Rudy Gobert? Are you crazy? That's a no. So I don't know if Houston has a young lion Minnesota. They ain't got young lions to offer. The Heat do. The Heat have, but I'm not trading Bam, and I'm not trading, I'm not going to trade Bam for KD. Sorry, I'm not trading Hero for KD. So if those two have to stay in Miami, you know what I mean. Terry Rozier's not getting it done. Miami just has, you could package. I'm just not sure if Miami, has the pieces, or that Miami wouldn't, that makes no sense to trade Bam for KD. Makes no sense to trade Hero for KD because you need to partner KD with those two younger Lions in order to start climbing the ladder again in the Eastern Conference. So Miami, I'm kind of like, what package can they put together? Obviously, San Antonio being gifted. I say gifted. It's just crazy because they already got Wemby, and now the next thing you know, they had a good team, but they move up the ladder, which I don't necessarily mind because I don't agree with tanking to start with. We've had enough of Tibbs. You get this energy, okay? Appreciate it. Thank you. Talking Phoenix, in the trade. Oh yeah, yeah. San Antonio, number 2 draft pick after they just got Wemby a heartbeat ago. After they have the defending Rookie of the Year in Castle, they bring in De'Aaron Fox. So as constituted, are they ready to win a championship? No. Are they ready to make some doggone noise in the West? Yes, they are. With Wembenyama, who's the 21st century version of Lou Alcindor. I said what I said. De'Aaron Fox, hungry, being back in his home state, ready to go get it. And Castle, who's a young and rising star, coming from the Danny Hurley tradition at UConn. Tough as nails, two-way player. Go ahead and get it done. 2-point game, 5:50 to go, coming right down the stretch. So, San Antonio, they have the pieces. And if I'm in San Antonio, I'm not trading Castle. I'm not trading the big threes. I'm just not going to do it. It makes no sense to me. It makes no sense for San Antonio to give up on Castle because he's the one that's going to grow with Wemby, and just be the future. So no, and he's on a rookie deal. So no. So no Castle, no Fox, no Wemby. But San Antonio's got the number 2 pick. That's Ace Bailey. That's Dylan Harper, and they got a couple other younger players that are they got some young, well coached, that whole thing. All right. Speaking of which, the Celtics are done lost their doggone minds. Talking about trading Drew Holiday. You trade Drew, if the Celtics get rid of Drew Holiday, they're done as a championship team. They're done. No configuration, done. I don't want to hear about the second apron. I said it. I don't want to hear about it. I do not want to hear about the second apron. I don't care if the Celtics, I don't care. Like the Celtics, if they just bring the same team back from last year to this year, or what's going to happen, or somebody's got to restructure a deal somewhere in there. You do all that. If the madness that I've heard, they're going to trade Drew Holiday they're done. You're going to trade Drew Holiday just for a first round pick and think that you're still going to be a championship team with Derek White and Jaylen Brown and maybe Crispy P? Drew Holiday is the glue. He's the X factor. He's the one that gives you a power play. That's Drew Holiday who's doing that. And he does it with a smile. Drew Holiday is a Hall of Famer. He's going to the Hall of Fame. Never mind the NBA championship, which he had a lot to do with. Not, power, not, being down 0-2 against Phoenix. He was a huge part. He was the second best player in that Milwaukee team. Huge defensive plays down the stretch. If Drew leaves, it's over in Boston. Over. Done. Drew Holiday makes this team championship grade. He makes this group dynastic. Drew Holiday does that. He is the quarterback of the team. All these, Derek White and all, Derek White is a very good player. He is a willing passer. He's a scoring guard that can pass. Drew Holiday is a pure point guard that can score. And is an elite defender. And his team first and doesn't complain. right? Because we remember that was the situation previously in Boston. Folks who weren't Jaylen Brown and folks who weren't Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum was in their feelings, kicking up dust about and because they had a little bit of seniority, it created a situation. Drew Holiday has seniority, and he's good enough to say those things and doesn't. Talk about trading that guy. Drew Holiday could and would be right to say, I need my shots. I need this. I need that. I need the third. I'm an all-star just like JB and JT are all-stars. I'm a champion just like they're champ. Well, I'm a champ. They're a champion with me. Says none of it. People have forgotten that he has the clout and the right to say any of those things because he's so humble and team first. And the Celtics are telling me that's the guy, and they think there's some delusion that they remain in contention in the East. Okay, it's just no. Particularly with the new owner coming in and all the rest of that stuff, and but Wick still no. You might have to take a hit for a year. I said what I said, and then get these guys to start, you know, restructuring their deals. Or you can say goodbye to winning and say goodbye to this window with JB and JT. What's next? Now we're going to trade, the whole, and Celtics went, oh, we're going to trade Jaylen Brown and build around. Good luck with that. How's that working out for Atlanta, building around Trae Young? All right. You need to. You have to if you're the Celtics. Okay, you got JB, you got JT. That's your cure. That's your core, for the future. You put Derek White around them. You gave up some draft capital, worked out like spades, coming from the Popovich tradition, right? And then Drew Holiday was just, Brad Stevens said it. You just don't think you get a chance to get those guys, and you got him. So that's your core four. Crispy P is right there. Want to keep Crispy P. Gonna have to take less, whatever. If Crispy P needs to get all his money, I'm sorry, but you can go. If you're willing to work with this, then as I imagine you would be, then let's keep it together. I'm talking like I'm not coming back over. I'm still with the Knicks, but Celtics keep it together. You might take some hits, or you take the hits, but you're winning. But they mess around with that first four, White, Holiday, and JB and JT, it's done. Even if you keep Holiday and get rid, because again, now, and I don't want to hear about Hauser or Pritchard. I don't want to hear any of that nonsense. They're not, all right, this guy is not that guy. Well, Hauser can come in and Cormac can. No, they can't. No, they can't. Let me see Pritchard, and I'm thrilled. Pritchard's a Cape guy, shows love to Cape businesses, does a lot of things on Cape, you know what I mean? That he's, that's the type of guy that you root for, you want to see win. So I'm thrilled that Pritchard was the sixth man of the year. Let him get another sixth man of the year. Okay? He's a very important part of the team, essential, integral, all the rest of that stuff. He ain't White. He's not Holiday. Okay, that's their Fantastic Four. You mess around with their Fantastic Four, you try to form some Three Musketeers type situation, your championship window, all right, as far as I'm concerned, and I said I'm saying what I'm saying, right? It's only cracked open now. Right? There's rumblings, this whole Giannis thing. There's rumblings about Giannis wanting to stay in the frozen north. Don't make no kind of sense to me. But he wants to be loyal to the soil. Dame was loyal to the soil too. Fine, stay out there. You're not going to be a championship team. All right, because who is the star? What is Devin Booker going to Milwaukee? No, Devin Booker's going to play with Detroit. He's heading back to his homeland. He's not going to be in the frozen north, but not be in Detroit. No. Speaking of which, we got this is beautiful. Jalen Rose, Travis Best, Mark Jacks. This is from the 2000 Pacers. All in attendance. Beautiful thing. I'm dating myself, but them was my glory years. So there's a lot of things percolating. Good. That's the NBA. The Casino Royale. And we'll see. It's going to be an action-packed draft night. Dallas Mavericks being gifted the number one pick. All right. So that market will be secure. Um, but then after that, who goes where? How the cookie crumbles. But the Celtics, then y'all need to stay out of it. Y'all need to stay out of it. Take your medicine, and then start worrying about building a culture where these guys want to stay. Because again, this whole second April we can't keep guys. Well, yeah, all right, fine. Then let's start the championship carousel. Let's start it up. That's what we're talking about. I don't think this whole second apron. I didn't know we needed second apron. Frankly, I thought the system was working anyway. Excuse me. You had parity. You didn't have these super teams. Team won this year, team won that year. So I don't. Second apron. That's a whole other discussion. But if teams want to get cute, all right, you get cute. You save money. I get that, but you need to have a Patrick Mahomes mentality, right? You need to have a Kansas City Chiefs mentality. Everybody threw Patrick Mahomes under the doggone bus after they won that first championship, and he came through talking about, what I mean, signing that team friendly deal for 10 years to give everybody flexibility. People was raining down on Patrick Mahomes. He done won a couple more Super Bowls now. Those folks are quiet. Tyreek Hill came and went. They still winning Super Bowls. Folks are quiet. Patty Mahomes took a deal with some flexibility and doggone it, the Kansas City Chiefs for the second straight year in a doggone row sent the Ravens home. No, it might have been the Bills that sent the Ravens home. Because they couldn't, because the Bills and the Ravens, one of those two championship teams had to go because Kansas City wasn't playing no games and secured that AFC number one seed, only losing one game. He wasn't playing no games. So that meant Buffalo and the Ravens had to match up in the divisional round. So one Super Bowl contending team had to go, and that was that. 1 point game, 3 minutes to go. It's a beautiful thing, folks. It's a beautiful thing. But again, all of this winning and, Patrick Mahomes took a deal that allowed the team to have the flexibility to do what it needed to do to, put a roster on the court. Nemhard straight line drive, no call. Shea with the ball. You're watching it. I'm watching it. This is money time. Rises up. Shea gets to his spots, delivers. That looked like an MVP right there. Tough shot, you know what I mean? And one of the things they say about Shea, shout out to Gills Arena, you know, is, his game is just a little push off. I like the no call. This is for the men right now. This is for the men. Yeah, a little push off there. Okay, but you got the physical right now. So stay on your feet. Got an advantage. Okay, got a little, but I like the no call. Gil Zarina's talking about Shea. He has his bag. He's got moves, he's got counters, and he's got counters on top of those counters. So his bag is deep. Okay, Facebook, appreciate on the IG. A men's league check-in on the IG. Appreciate that very much. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Oh, a couple people on Twitter rocking with your boy. Much love and respect. Appreciate Mexican John Dutton. I ain't here for that long time. I'm here for that good time. Appreciate it. We're coming down the home stretch here, folks. Lou Dort to the rack. No foul. No, he got that foul. OKC up one. About 2 minutes and change to go. Okay, so now we getting into the chess match of this. We're getting into the chess match of the game. And so now the pressure is right back on Indy. Indy, you had them on the ropes. They came back off the ropes, throwing them makers. Right? You get somebody down, you get somebody, and the next thing you know, that person that's really about it, they come off you think you about ready for the knockout, then they still come in, trying to knock you out. So that's how OKC has handled things. Appreciate everybody tuning in. That's tuned in on Twitter. And now they're up 2, and we'll see. Anybody's ball game, but the pressure is now on Indy as far as I'm concerned. Okay, you got to execute and give the crowd something. And now this is a situation where Hallie has it, and he's going to work, okay? And they're moving around him. Let's see if he can he's going to his step back 3, air ball. Right? If I'm Indy, listen. Not, I mean, obviously I'm an elite coach, but OKC is not the Knicks. They're not the Cavaliers, right? They have elite wing defenders. So just giving it to Hallie and hoping he can make a play is not going to do it. You're going to have to get that thing moving and percolating and run some screen. You know what I mean? OKC's, Jalen Williams got to his spot. Had a good look. No good. 127, another set for Indy. Halliburton, Miles Turner, give it back to Nembhard, cooking, give it back to Hallie. All right, so they're going with Nembhard. Is he, again, too much wasted time? They got good perimeter defenders. Chet with the defense. See, it's not going to work. Not going to work with this ISO stuff with them. You need to get a freaking action, get the screen roll moving, okay, and then play off the screen roll. You're not just going to be able to go ISO with, okay, because that's what Indy was able to do to my Knicks with, Nesmith being, Nesmith can lock up. Shea. Yeah, that was a foul. Yes, you fouled him, Nesmith, on the reverse pivot. You were not vertical. That's too much physicality. Let's go ahead and back and run it, and you can see it. Okay, is he pushing off? Fine, but this is a men's game. You see how Nembhard, first of all, the arm is on him, right? You got to get the arm off. That's A. Then secondly, the contest is not vertical. You're at that angle. You're at that 45 degree. You got to get up. You got to be in your verticality. Benedict Mathurin coming in for defensive purposes. So now OKC, they didn't put Indy back up against the wall, looking at a 3-point. Okay, looking at a 3 to 4 point lead now, 44 seconds. Indy, no more playing around. You got to get buckets here. You got to get into your offense. None of this RPO baloney. You got to get into whatever it is you're doing. And if it's just Hallie dribbling, that's not going to cut it because they got the lockdown defender. So get into something. Bring it up the court, see what it is, call your action, and get into that doggone action. Hallie dribbling, not there. Back to ISO. Chet right with him, straight up, kicking it back. Miles Turner. Oh, good contest by Caruso. Okay. Loose ball, good bump. What'd I say? Okay, Miles Turner got one off their feet. These Oklahoma City Thunder, only time I've ever seen it in my life, but now multiple closeouts. So Miles Turner got him up off his feet. Okay, you see Caruso makes a second effort. Caruso is going to come and help. Second closeout. 2. Say what? Okay. That was a loose ball foul. Mathurin. Can't be missing these free throws. 24 seconds left. Young bull. Young bull, you can't be missing. I know you've taken a role, but you was getting buckets at AZ. Everybody got to have a role in the NBA, so it's a learning process. He was a bucket getter coming into the league. Now he's a defensive specialist more so. but don't forget your bucket getting roots. You got to get this. You already done given back 1 point, which is, dare I say, a possession. So now you got to get it. See, see. Okay, okay, folks. Right, right. We talk about the youth inexperience. Okay, young Bull Matherin switched in for defensive purposes. I get it, but now he got to stay on the court for offense. He hasn't been in the gym to learn and master the role like Neesmith, drafted by the Celtics. So you see Neesmith and what he did to my New York Knicks down the stretch. Okay, raining down them threes. You see Obi Toppin, what he did to my Knicks, what he's been doing, raining down them threes. They've mastered their role. Took some time, some years, but they've mastered their role. Matherin is learning to be more defensive minded. He can still get buckets. That's what he came into the league as, a straight physical, explosive scorer. Come into the league, learn a role. He's come up under that coaching. So he's a defensive guy, but now he got to go to the line and hit those two free throws. But he's not used to really cooking offensively. 0 for 2 with 24 seconds to go. So you're not getting that possession back. You gave away a possession. You're not getting it back. So you're going to have to foul. So then this 4-point lead is going to be a 6-point lead. You're gonna have to pull some magic out of a hat, Indy, just like that. Okay. I referee. I was fortunate to get involved in refereeing. Referees encouraged me to get involved. I didn't have the passion, the vision for it. They encouraged me. I got involved. The rest is history. I've been refereeing 15, 16 years. Game changer. Money in my pocket, staying around the game, get exercise, whole 9 yards. My mentor, he says, okay, as a referee, you want the scales to be balanced. You want both teams to have their chances. Well, guess what, folks? Both teams don't have their chances in this game. Matherin, you just can't do that in that spot and expect to win. I'm sorry, you can't. So it's not over. We know what Yogi Berra said. We got a long ways to go, but Oklahoma City is in commanding position right now. They might have called. I hope they didn't call a foul. Oh boy, it's kind of ridiculous. Calling a foul before the inbound so they get one shot. That's a little bit ticky tack. I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that. Yeah, he fouled. No, 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 no. You're overdoing it now. You're overdoing it. It's too much. We didn't need that extra because now you're giving an extra point, which is could be the difference between a 3 and 2 point game. So what? What the Matherin? He's holding him a little bit. Is it crazy? They could have let that go. It didn't affect the play. He would have still got the ball. We didn't need that. Was it, but and my point with this is you say, well, because Shea's been pushing off all game. You heard me say those are good no calls. Shea been giving them that extension all game. Have we been playing? Have we been playing big boy basketball in the finals? Can we play big boy basketball, please? Loose ball Matherin to the cup. Get it back. Okay. Oh, that hurts. Jalen Williams been falling all over the place and getting right back up. That's the second time he fell hard. And he got right back up. You see, it's the finals. He fell hard. Where Charles Barkley say, you don't lean, don't put your hands out. Your wrist, your ankles. You know what I mean. Don't put. You gotta fall. You gotta fall like a wrestler falls. Yeah, he fell. Bang! Hip, butt, ox. He fell right on the pelvis and the ox. He fell. Now Matherin, you better get these. We looking at a dog on Nick Anderson situation here, folks. Oh, ah. Okay, so his arm did extend just a little bit, just a little bit. Those are tough ones. You got to get your legs out from under you. Yep, don't. But Benedict Mather, and this is a Nick Anderson situation right now. 1 for 3, not nearly good enough. All right, so Rick Carlisle, you try to give the young bull minutes. Put Neesmith back in the game, right? It's a catch-22. He's just not ready. He's not ready. He might, you know what I mean? This is experience. He's just out here. Young bull is a young bull. He's a young bull. You're just young. The ball in you is why you're in the game. That's what the teams they see that you can't coach the explosiveness, but you're gonna have to coach some doggone sense in the people. So it backfired. Carlisle, you should have, who am I saying woulda, coulda, shoulda? But now you need Neesmith in those instances. You need Neesmith is not the 5-star athlete that Matherin is, but he's a 5-star, IQ more so. All right, you got to foul. Go ahead and foul. Down 5 with 15 seconds to go. Right. It's quiet in Hoosier country, but that's yeah. All right, folks, 2-2. Long way to go. Long way to go. Had the chance. Had the chance. Up to you, right? It's gone. Oklahoma City showed they have the skill, the talent, and they have the togetherness to be able to respond to some power punches and not fold. That's big time. Um, and now Indiana. So you right, this whole band of brothers thing that you got going on, and let's just remember that's how the Lakers got beat down in 2008. Right, we went to the Kobe press conferences in 2009. Do we need to see that again? Do we need to see the Kobe press conferences in 2009 after the Celtics laid them heavy hands on them? Okay, you know, in 2008 when the Lakers came in there. Now they didn't have Andrew Bynum. That was a, you know what I mean. But they came into the finals happy and smiling, and the Celtics just kind of mad dogged them. And then Kobe, the next, we'll get it for you on the screen. I'm talking. I've been talking to you for a long time now. Okay. Kobe came into the, you know what I mean? You're up 2-0. Right? Kobe had to give him. Kobe was, I generally don't approve of mean mugging. Mean mugging doesn't sit right with me. Put a smile on your face, particularly when you're a multimillionaire to do things that you love to do. So put a smile on your face. Not a huge fan of people walking around angry with dream jobs.
You're up 2-0. What's the story? Are you not happy, or you're only half happy, or?
Still to be happy about.
You're up 2-0.
Job's not finished. Job finished? No, I don't think so.
Okay.
Come back.
You're up 2-0. What's the story? Are you not happy, or you're only half happy, or?
Still to be happy about.
You're up 2-0.
Job's not finished. Job finished? No, I don't think so.
Yeah. Yeah, that's Kobe after the Celtics. Okay, put it on him the year before when he came in smiling and happy and bandy. So Indiana, right? And you got this whole we got nothing to lose. Why not us? All the euphemisms that we say to kind of keep you grounded and level, what you need to do in high stakes, high pressure moments. You got to keep you calm, which is very, but you got to, can't, because the pressure, you second guess, you overcompensate, and then you're right. It becomes a point of diminishing returns, all that stuff. Okay. So you got to, but you also got to keep that edge about you, like, hey, you know what I mean? You going. Right? What did Azzy Fudd say? You check out the NCAA because again, you support the Hoopers. Love the women's game, respect the athletes. So that this whole nonsense about but they said you're gonna fud around and find out. That old Azzy Fudd, who's been injured, who's had to go through some things in her UConn career, finally back healthy. All right, A lot of respect for Dawn Staley in South Carolina and everything that they do and what they mean to the game. But this was UConn's year. All right. And as he ran wild in the championship. Okay. Her parents was out there in the stand. They said, you're going to fud around and find out. See if we can get that for you on the screen. So you got to have that edge about you. That's what. Oh my goodness. Messed up. Huh? So Kobe, Eye of the Tiger, 09. You're going to fud around and find out. You heard? As he finds families. You're going to fud around and find out. She ran wild in the championship game. Talk about the lean years that she had, the injuries. And by the way, Azzy Fudd was #1 player coming out of high school. You know, this whole, hey, appreciate Mickey Blue Eyes on the IG check-in. Appreciate you very much. All the folks on Twitter, much love and appreciation. Yes, sir. Jump in. Hey, I tell people, like, oh, I say, hey, you're welcome on SandCity. I say it. People hear it. I don't know what the deal is, whether they, I say, holla at your boy. But I certainly appreciate the check-ins, most definitely. But Azzy Fudd went through it at UConn. She's #1 player coming out of high school. All this talk, and it was a nice narrative. Oh, Caitlin Clark was like, yeah, I wanted to go to UConn. They didn't reach out to me, so on and forth. Because they had Paige Beckers. And Paige is #1. Caitlin was a little bit down the trough. Okay, and Gino already had him a team. I believe Paige went to the championship her freshman year when she was healthy. Then she had injuries. After Paige, he brings in Azzy Fudd. So that group, Paige and Azzy, which we were supposed to have 3 years together, they just kept having, one had an injury, another had an injury, one had an injury. They just kept being injured, and they were never out there collectively healthy until this year. After, many people felt like UConn star had faded. And I know we didn't get a chance to see the Juju matchup that we all wanted to see. That hurt. That really hurt. But South Carolina, UConn and South Carolina matched up midseason, and they handled South Carolina, which is unusual because South Carolina has been getting the better of those matchups. But then the national championship game was similar. Just the fact of the matter, like, you don't find a Leah Boston everywhere. Like Dawn Staley did a great job of recruiting. Like, her teams have been loaded. And this year, they graduated players, NIL stuff, which is a whole other ball of wax in college, where you can pay the players to, kind of get some, reestablish some order. So we don't got 30-year-olds playing on teams and, getting a degree from 4 different universities after 4 years. You can pay players. Now you got to get this transfer portal, 2 years. You need to be someplace for 2 years minimum. And if you bounce, your behind's going to sit, period. 2-year contracts. And if you leave, bring back. You can leave. You're going to sit a year. You get all your money and you're sitting a year. Okay. Not this, you know what I mean? All right. Which is what we see on, grassroots. This weekend I play for this team. Next weekend I play for that team. Next weekend I play for the other team. It makes no sense. I can understand certain instances, particularly if in the grassroots, when you are that elite player, a lot of coaches, because the player is the asset. So everybody wants you to play for their team, so on and forth. I get that to a certain, sometimes you can, okay, I'm going to play with this team this week, get my reps in, so on and forth. And that's different than players thinking that they're going to have a better opportunity because they jump to this team for a weekend, jump to this team. And coaches don't like to see that really anyway. if you are, because if everybody below the creme de la creme, you're just, what do they call it? Content and fill. You're fill. That is what it is. Nothing wrong with being Phil. You know who was Phil? Chef Curry was Phil, unranked. You know who was Phil? Tyrese Halliburton was Phil. I'm just keep. This is just the process, in terms of recruitment. Okay, they're looking for those high. Now you might have a coach, Silver Fox at well, but the Silver Fox at Davidson. He was leveling up with getting Chef Curry, because Chef Curry was clearly a Power 5 player, but the Power 5 programs looked at him. He's a nice guy, and he's just well, you're not me. You don't have the, that's one of these things, because you're well mannered, respectful. You take a team first approach. Well, you're not tough enough. It's just ridiculous. Poor analytics. I think the analytics and the process has changed, whereas all of those positive intangibles are now valued more than they maybe once were. But for Chef Curry's time, that they didn't think he was tough. He wasn't, whatever. So he's like, you know what? I'm gonna go, and he lit it up at Davidson, and everybody wanted him, now. And he said, something, and this is a little, it's a nice guy, and Chef Curry, and does all this philanthropic stuff, but he keeps receipts too. He kept those receipts. Okay, when I was doing my thing, hungry, just trying to get anything, y'all didn't know your boy. I was invisible then. I was the invisible man, and y'all said y'all kept me invisible with firmness. You was happy. You was happy to not give your boy his flowers. You felt good about it. Even though in person, well, behind closed doors, you was toasting how things go down. When people, if somebody, right, you learn in life, either people like you and believe in you, or they don't. Bottom line. And it's interesting, like those two things go together. A lot of times people have to like you personally to believe in what you bring to the table. Right? Not what you know, who you know in the world. It's crazy. Rather than, I don't necessarily like you personality wise, but doggone it, you're a gamer. Like, you got skills. You handle your business. I think we could use that. You handle your business, and you also mind your business. So those two things together amounts to surplus value. Good organizations see that. Not all organizations are good. All the way back to FUD around and find out. Let's make the connection to Chef Curry, unranked. 2-3 stars, lit it up at Davidson. Now everybody wants to be his friend. No, I'm gonna stay at Davidson and do it from Davidson, and the rest is history. All right, those hard, lean early years were the foundation. In terms of FUD around and find out, as he FUD, national champion. She had some hard years. And they won a national championship this year in resounding fashion. Guess it worked out. So, folks, we are 2-2 in the series. Let's go. Let me go around the world and see if we have anything. Hope everybody, again, great finals game. And we got a lot of slice of life to get to. A lot of slice of life. I'm not going to do the crime report. Do see Antonio Brown is a wanted man. Not going to dive into that this episode. Oh, my goodness. Knicks are interviewing Taylor Jenkins. Nothing against Taylor Jenkins. He should still be coaching in Memphis. Now, all of a sudden, he's the right man for the New York job. This is outlandish. If you knew you weren't going to get Jason Kidd, just leave well enough alone. And what did I just say? It's this whole thing with the Knicks. It's looking personal to me. It's looking personal from the standpoint. Leon Rose, you brought Tom Thibodeau in to build your team up. He built your team up. Now all this, there's these added things and layers, and everybody gets super sensitive. And there's reports that Tom Thibodeau and Leon Rose were not talking. They weren't on speaking terms. So the heck what? So the heck what? Finish the season, go on vacation, come back, and get back to work. What are we doing? Taylor Jenkins is a good coach. He's the systems and it's just night and day different. It's just different. He has no prior connection with these guys. He's just, you know what I mean? Jason Kidd had the prior connection. He had the gravitas. He went to the finals. Taylor Jenkins is a good coach. He's done his thing. He brought, but you're completely changing culture and changing and now you're talking about Mike Brown, another good and serviceable coach. There's just no freaking need for it. To just start from scratch when you already had a culture and a continuity established. And if it's that big of a freaking deal, I'm saying freaking, and you're the New York Knicks, and you're, then you could have just you could have brought in either of these two as an assistant on Tom Thibodeau's staff. Yes, I know Tom Thibodeau has his way of doing things and wants to have his own staff, so on and forth. I get all that. But every team has two head coaches. Okay? Right? Two head coaches. You look at Lloyd, forget his name, was the coach in Atlanta. He's on Rick Carlisle's bench. Dagnall's got however, coaches in waiting, whatever. You could have kept Tom Thibodeau. Everybody go on vacation. Bring in a Taylor Jenkins, to help him with the offense, whatever, or Mike Brown to help with offense, just like he did with Steve Kerr. Pay him close to head coaching salary money, and then just move on, and we're good. But to say now the Knicks are going to bring it and just have a completely new system and philosophy with Mike Brown or Taylor Jenkins, and my light's been on. I just thinking about this. It's just nuts. It's just absolutely preposterous. Oh my goodness. You know what I mean? Okay, we gotta, and we're gonna get in a slice of life now. Let me know what you think, people. There's too many breaks here in the action. I'm beside myself. I might have to call Dr. Melfi. I might need some. I gotta do something. I gotta call Big Ben. Big Ben's not. I gotta do something. This is so ridiculous. I just can't believe it. I'm literally. Shout out to Nerd Sesh. Shout out to I got to give love to Sports Fluent. I'm giving all these shout outs. Sports Fluent, SandCity has the collab with Sports Fluent. Go ahead and check out Sport. Like, comment, subscribe. Tony does a great job. Chilltown, a lot of good stuff. That's how I found out. No, it was I found Nerd Session. They were on the panel. They those guys jumped. And I was like, these guys know what they're talking about. So they're going live right now. SandCity is still live right now. The Knicks, they done lost a cotton picking mind. I just can't believe this. I just can't. J Kidd is the only one to come behind Tibbs that would have worked. Taylor Jenkins is going to make Karl Anthony Towns an All-NBA defender. He's going to make Big Body Brunson somehow turn into, I don't know, who do you want him to be? Who do you want Big Body? Like, what's a, undersized, lockdown, Knicks. I want, you know what I mean. I just, I'm at a loss. I'm at a doggone loss. Let's just check to make sure everything's going on. It's just wild. All right, folks, let's get into this slice of life. Hope everybody out there's going to go around on the socials. Facebook is good. Appreciate those that checked in on the IG. Sometimes when we do slice of life on the IG, it gets because I have to open up another IG to get the stuff going on. So the IG sometimes shuts down. So my folks on IG, appreciate you. Excuse me, very much. But if it breaks down and you still want to, because slice of life, it's a little bit, we see what's going on out there. Just go to, Facebook, go to the Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, and check in from there, and we're all good. All right, let's get this slice of life going on. A lot of stuff. A lot of stuff to get to. Yes. Okay. And I've been going off on it. I've been going off on this topic. You know what I mean? Let's let Austin Rivers. Let's let Austin. You know what I mean? I mean he bringing something to this conversation. It's come on.
Hire Tibbs, and then you have no motherfucking plan to hire who else. Now you're scrapping around, asking other teams, can we interview your coach? Y'all just going to happy homes and happy situations and being like, can we take your coach? Is nuts. And then what did we found out? Every coach, every team has been like, no, denied. Imagine going to a bar and seeing a happy couple sitting there. His arms around his girl, they're kissing. Imagine just walking over there,
Newlywed,
sliding in between the dude and the girl, talking to the man and go, can I talk to your girl, man? Could you give me an opportunity? Would you allow me? I see how she is with you, and she looks fantastic. Is there any way I can take her for a spin? I won't bring her back either. I want her to be my girlfriend. Do you mind? The answer would be, get the fuck out my face. They just gone from team to team trying to poach a coach. It's not how it works. Now, if it's an assistant coach where everyone's like, yo, this guy's one of the next head coaches, people know he's going to leave, that's when you can ask a team, hey, man, is there any way we can have an opportunity to talk to him before he makes a decision? Right. That's normal. To just go to an outright team that's doing decent or well or has a good relationship with their coach and everything's kind of amicable, you just walking over there and being like, hey, can we talk to him? Is insane. They have no plan. They fired a top-tier coach, as much as I hate fucking saying it, and are just walking around like with their hands in their pockets, just like, hey, you happy over there? You want to come over? What the hell are you doing? You fire Tibbs, and then you have no motherfucking plan to hire who else. Now you're scrapping around, asking other teams, can we interview your coach? Y'all just going to happy homes and happy situations and being like, can we take your coach? Is nuts. And then what did we found out? Every team has been like, no, denied. Imagine going to a bar and seeing a happy couple sitting there. His arms around his girl, they're kissing. Imagine just walking over there, sliding in between the dude and the girl, talking to the man and go, can I talk to your girl, man? Could you give me an opportunity? Would you allow me? I see how she is with you, and she looks fantastic. Is there any way I can take her for a spin?
Go ahead. Go. We're gonna. No lies detected. Okay, we're gonna see if we can. We're gonna see if we can do some. I'm gonna try to see if we can jump over in the threads. Okay, let's see if we can do this. You're giving me this too much. I don't need to do all that. Oh my goodness. This is a good take too. Let's see if we can. All right, here we go with the next clip. No lies detected, by the way, Austin. Another thing I got, one thing my grandfather used to, he, shaking my head. Goodness. All right, we're gonna do that. Let's stay a little bit, on the. We're not going specific to basketball, but let's see if we can go over the threads here. If it's going to come on. Jaleel, go ahead and tell me.
I'm hearing all this first date nonsense in the podcast world because the truth of the matter is, if a woman really likes a dude like that,
that's true. They'll go anywhere.
She don't care where.
Go ahead and come back. We had it going on. Come on back now.
This first date nonsense in the podcast world because the truth of the matter is, if a woman really likes a dude like that,
that's true. They'll go anywhere.
She don't care where they go.
I did not care.
They can go to Chili's, they can go to Raising Cane's, they can go bowling.
That's true.
Whatever.
You're right. That's a good sign.
They can stay in. They can order takeout.
Yeah.
So when I see a woman that's all dressed up a little too much with the eyelashes and whatever, talking about, well, he didn't pay for my first date. I'm not. Honey, you're not even looking for a dude. You're looking for sponsorship. I can't stand hearing all this first date nonsense in the podcast world because the truth of the matter is, if a woman really likes a dude like that,
that's true. They'll go anywhere.
She don't care where they go.
I did not care.
They can go to Chili's, they can go to Raising Cane's, they can go bowling.
That's true.
Whatever.
You're right. That's a good sign.
They can stay in. They can order takeout.
Yeah.
So when I see a woman that's all dressed up a little too much with the eyelashes and whatever, talking about, well, he didn't pay for my first date. I'm not. Honey, you're not even looking for a dude. You're looking for sponsorship. I can't stand hearing all this first date nonsense in the podcast world because the truth of the matter is,
no lies detected. We took it from, you know what I mean? One of the things that they say, right? You know what I mean? Is hey, you gotta stand, right? Hold your own, and keep and do you, and you will, you know what I mean? The right people gonna come around you. Right people gonna come around you, but a little bit of, you know what I mean? Sometimes, you're leaning and you're doing all this stuff to impress, and I get it, go out there and be yourself and talk to your people. But at the end of the day, don't doubt what you bring to the table. You know what I mean? You can't doubt what you got going on. Okay, sometimes we get to so much leaning and careening and doing all this other stuff for everybody else. You can't. Don't sleep on yourself. Is the point? Don't sleep on yourself. All right, now let's talk about how to we did. Okay, Austin Reeves broke. We started in terms of just this what's going on with Tibbs in this situation. Straight from the heart, a little bit of slice of life, a little bit of relation stuff, in terms of just, hey, going out there and being social, but also respecting yourself. Let's talk about how we got to navigate in this business world.
O.K.C is a two-way street. Oftentimes we have our hands out. I need somebody to help me. What can you do for me? The best way to get help and the best way to find your advocate, right? Mm-hmm. Your quote unquote one white guy. I don't care what it looked like. It could look like Charlamagne, could look like Jess. It doesn't matter. The point is to get that one person, you got to add value to them. Make them look smart. Figure out what it is that they need. Mm-hmm. And then once you are able to help them, they're going to want to continue to help you, right? This guy wanted to make movies that were similar to the ones I made. I made him look smart because I was able to make them for a certain number and they overperformed in terms of their budget. And so we made a bunch of movies together, right? But you got to figure out that person that you need. You got to find that one person. Nobody does it by themselves. And whatever that person is, figure out how you can add value to their lives. Don't just think about, what can you do for me? What can you do for me? No, that's not how the people at the top level think. The best way to get help and the best way to find your advocate, right? Your quote unquote one white guy. I don't care what it looked like. It could look like Charlamagne, it could look like Jess. It doesn't matter. The point is, to get that one person, you got to add value to them. Make them look smart. Figure out what it is that they need. And then once you are able to help them, they're going to want to continue to help you, right? This guy wanted to make movies that were similar to the ones I made. I made him look smart because I was able to make them for a certain number and they overperformed in terms of their budget. And so we made a bunch of movies together, right? But you got to figure out that person that you need. You got to find that one person. Nobody does it by themselves. And whatever that person is, figure out how you can add value to their lives. Don't just think about, what can you do for me? What can you do for me? No, that's not how the people at the top level think. What can you do for me? The best way to get help and the best way to find your advocate, right?
What? Talking about that two-way street? Talking about now what you know, who you know, and how you need to proceed? No lies detected right there. You can't do it by yourself. And you have to find those connections that are going to be mutually beneficial and say nobody's going to, right? Jamie Lee Curtis is talking about, you're not going to, the success is not going to find you. You have to go to the success. You have to go to it. It's not coming to you. Everything right here. I need it right here. I got to get it. It's got to be right at my fingertips. So I'm not doing it. If it's not right, I'm not doing it. It's too much. Right. So first you have to go there. And then on top of that, you got to, this person's not just going to open. They're not just going to open the gates for you. You know what I mean? What you come out here? What you bring to the table, man? You know what that man's what we learn. Everybody got their cups, but they ain't chipped in. Everybody got their cups, but they ain't chipped in. No, they didn't. Okay, so you can stay thirsty until you chip something on. You chip something in now. Now I'm gonna talk to you. But until then, I don't know what to tell you, my man. All right, let's continue on talking about the process.
Or 99 to 05, 99 to 06, basically straight without missing a single day, 365 days a year. During that time, we were averaging about 10 workouts a week, 7 days a week. And we would go from 5 to 7, 9 to 11, and 3 to 5, all in the pool, and then have a weight session afterwards. So we're having 4 workouts a day. Over 24 days, we're probably working out with weights 75 times. I saw myself improving so much because we weren't taking a day off. And in the sport of swimming, if you miss one day, it takes you 2 days to get back to where you were. Or 99 to 05, 99 to 06, basically straight without missing a single day, 365 days a year. During that time, we were averaging about 10 workouts a week, 7 days a week. And we would go from 5 to 7, 9 to 11, and 3 to 5, all in the pool, and then have a weight session afterwards. So we're having 4 workouts a day. Over 24 days, we're probably working out with weights 75 times. I saw myself improving so much because we weren't taking a day off. And in the sport of swimming, if you miss one day, it takes you 2 days to get back to where you were. Or 99 to 05, 99 to 06, basically straight without missing a single day, 365 days a year. During that time,
that's some Edwin Moses type stuff right there. Not missing a day for 6 years. With that schedule, 5 to 7, 9 to 11, 3 to 5. Then you do your workout, your weight workout. Get something to eat, go to bed, get up, do it again. I guess the sum total of that needs to be 23 gold medals. Yikes. Go ahead and run that back so we get the next one coming up.
We were averaging about 10 workouts a week, 7 days a week. And we would go from 5 to 7, 9 to 11, and 3 to 5, all in the pool, and then have a weight session afterwards. So we're having 4 workouts a day. Over 24 days, we're probably working out with weights 75 times. I saw myself improving so much because we weren't taking a day off. And in the sport of swimming, if you miss one day, it takes you 2 days to get back to where you were.
So okay, let's stay with that theme of consistency. That's world-class 23 gold medal consistency. Let's get some further perspective.
It's only a few successful artists that hide the ladder to success. For the most part, it's right here in front of you. It's documented every day through social media. My manager just showed me a clip from 2010 when I'm in Memphis, telling people the same story, but it's 2010. I'm like, I went on tour with Wayne, Nicki was there, Drake was there, and I was a little bit more popular because Duffel Bag Boys was out and they didn't have a record. And I said a year later, which was 20, I'm like, these people are the biggest people, you know what I'm saying? So I was inspired. I wasn't hating. I'm like, so this can happen in 12 months. This can, in 12 months, your life can change. If you stay down, like that was my mentality. It's like, if you want to be good at anything, like whatever it is, you know what I'm saying? You have to do it every day. Here for you, it's only a few successful artists that hide the ladder to success. For the most part, it's right here in front of you. It's documented every day through social media. My manager just showed me a clip from 2010 when I'm in Memphis, telling people the same story, but it's 2010. I'm like, I went on tour with Wayne, Nicki was there, Drake was there, and I was a little bit more popular because Duffel Bag Boys was out and they didn't have a record. And I said a year later, which was 20, I'm like, these people are the biggest people, you know what I'm saying? So I was inspired. I wasn't hating. I'm like, so this can happen in 12 months. This can, in 12 months, your life can change. If you stay down, like that was my mentality. It's like, if you want to be good at anything, like whatever it is, you know what I'm saying? You have to do it every day. Here for you, it's only a few.
So again, talking about the consistency, man, so I ain't player hating. So I'm congratulating. We not doing the player hating. We on that congratulation. We on that congratulation move. Not the player hating. Let's get some more. Slice of life. Hold up. What the heck? All right. You come here. X that there. Go here. Share this here. Whoop. All right, let's continue on.
The times you gotta overlook because you're not gonna see your vision.
True.
It's a lot of times people just gonna measure your greatness based on your success and your wealth, which is unfortunate. But when you're dealing with mediocre mindset people, that's what it is, and that's cool. And once they see you get the big checks, that's when they go, I seen it in you since you was in the 4th grade, Trish. And guess what? It's cool. It's a lot of times you gotta overlook because you're not gonna see your vision.
True.
It's a lot of times people just gonna measure your greatness based on your success and your wealth, which is unfortunate. But when you're dealing with mediocre mindset people, that's what it is, and that's cool. And once they see you get the big checks, that's when they go, I seen it in you since you was in the 4th grade, Trish. And guess what? It's cool. It's a lot of times you gotta.
What'd they say? Congratulations versus support. See those memes? Congratulations versus support. Congratulations is everybody. The support, all about your lonesome. All about your lonesome when you're building. A few more LeBron on his. Let's talk about coaching.
Kids coaches.
That's
you know,
for them.
From Bronny growing up to where he is now, and Bryce, you know, on his way to Tucson, to Arizona. I've never got involved. I've never went to a practice and sat through practice the whole time and see how my son was being utilized. I never got on the phone with the coaches. Listen, he's there to coach my son, coach him however you want to. And I think you need to hold him accountable. I hope you hold him more accountable than any other kid here, you know, and say what the fuck you need to say, no matter how it's being said, because sometimes it's not. If you could just take the message, and not as about how he's saying, just take the message out of it. You know, I think that builds character as well, you know, and I think it's part of the reason why they are where they are at their stages in their lives. You know, babying your kid and always, you know, thinking that your kid is this and thinking your kid is that, and not allowing coaches to coach them or not allowing people to be hard on them. And as soon as a coach or someone says something to them, you pull them and go somewhere else, or, you know, or as soon as someone says something bad about your kid, you're the first person to go talk to him in his face. It's like, all right, you fucking go coach him then. Like, you know. I've never got involved with my kids' coaches.
That's
you know,
for them.
From Bronny growing up to where he is now, and Bryce, you know, on his way to Tucson, to Arizona. I've never got involved. I've never went to a practice and sat through practice the whole time and see how my son was being utilized. I never got on the phone with the coaches. Listen, he's there to coach my son, coach him however you want to. And I think you need to hold him accountable. I hope you hold him more accountable than any other kid here, you know, and say what the fuck you need to say, no matter how it's being said, because sometimes it's not. If you could just take the message, and not as about how he's saying, just take the message out of it. You know, I think that builds character as well, you know, and I think it's part of the reason why they are where they are at their stages in their lives. You know, babying your kid and always, you know, thinking that your kid is this and thinking your kid is that, and not allowing coaches to coach them or not allowing people to be hard on them. And as soon as a coach or someone says something to them, you pull them and go somewhere else, or, you know, or as soon as someone says something bad about your kid, you're the first person to go talk to him in his face. It's like, all right, you fucking go coach him then. Like, you know.
It's a process. It's a process. So, no lies.
The most underrated quality of all is being really determined. This is more important than being smart. This is more important than having a network. This is more important than a great idea. The hardest thing about starting a company is the level and the frequency of bad stuff that happens to you. And most people that are good in really other ways eventually just get killed. The company gets killed by stuff going wrong. So much about being a successful entrepreneur is just not giving up. When we have funded people who have a great idea, perfect background on paper, and you know, a great product and still failed, it has usually been that they're insufficiently determined. So I think this is the most important non-obvious skill of a founder. Of course you need a good product and a good market and to be smart, but that's really obvious. The degree to which being like a 3 or 4 standard deviation outlier on determination is a required skill of a CEO is not something that was obvious to me when I started. The most underrated quality of all is being really determined. This is more important than being smart. This is more important than having a network. This is more important than a great idea. The hardest thing about starting a company is the level and the frequency of bad stuff that happens to you. And most people that are good in really other ways eventually just get killed. The company gets killed by stuff going wrong. So much about being a successful entrepreneur is just not giving up. When we have funded people who have a great idea, perfect background on paper, and a great product and still failed, it has usually been that they're insufficiently determined. So I think this is the most important non-obvious skill of a founder. Of course you need a good product and a good market and to be smart, but that's really obvious. The degree to which being like a 3 or 4 standard deviation outlier on determination is a required skill of a CEO is not something that was obvious to me when I started.
Hang it in there. Easy to say from the sidelines. Harder to say when you're in the arena. You got to hang in there. Got a couple others in terms of the journey. Try to end on a positive note. I think we've hit a lot of notes. So let's just go out. We've hit a lot, and we're going to get to a lot. See where we're at here. Want to keep these in order. Speaking of success, I think this is the appropriate. Let's give a shout out. Hey.
I can't fool myself. I don't want nobody
One take,
else to
folks.
ever love me.
What?
You are my shining star, my guiding light, my love fantasy. There's not a minute, hour, day, or night that I don't love you. You're at the top of my list, cause I'm always thinking of you. I still remember in the days when I was scared to touch you. How I spent my day dreaming, planning how to say I love you. You must have known that I had feelings deep enough to swim in. That's when you opened up your heart and you told me to come and hold my love. 1,000 kisses from you is never enough.
This is how we gonna get this. One take.
I just don't wanna stop. Oh my love.
Went in there and laid down a classic. One take, boy.
I can't fool myself.
Talk about awesome 80s. Wondering why the 80s
You are my shining star, my guiding light, my love fantasy. There's not a minute, hour, day, or night that I don't love you. You're at the top of my list, cause I'm always thinking of you. I still remember in the days when I was scared to touch you. How I spent my day dreaming, planning how to say I love you. You must have known that I had feelings deep enough to swim in. That's when you opened up your heart and you told me to come and hold my love.
We don't just get this classic.
1,000 kisses from you is never enough. I just don't wanna stop. Oh my love.
Hey, we're gonna go out with a little bit of Luther. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. In terms of, it's a process, right? And we learning different, you know what I mean? You saw different aspects therein. Kidding me? You want to talk about Michael Phelps not missing a day for 6 years? Talk about them 23 gold medals, but doggone it, 6 years and you don't miss a single doggone day? In 6 years? Good golly, Miss Molly. Okay, so much, and we at that point. Hey! Thank you so much, folks, for tuning in to SandCity Sports on the Friday check.